James Graham, the playwright, delivered the lecture at Edinburgh TV Festival, and his whole big thing was around this final taboo of diversity, which is class, and that it's kind of a very forgotten aspect of the conversation on diversity and inclusion. And honestly, I couldn't have agreed more. I was sat there like this, and the crowd like, yes, James, like, tell him, because...
And it's getting worse because... and there was a segue in my head, but I didn't get it out properly. But the fact that we're talking about how much the industry is in difficulties, this freelance culture, that suddenly becomes a class issue, because you need to think about, well, who's funding your life? If you're freelance or you have a short-term contract, that almost removes a bunch of people from the media. And that's how vital this kind of work is.
It's so vital, because it's the elephant in the room that we really have to address for longevity of people in this industry. Is if you can't pay your bills, or you don't grow up, in a community or culture where people say that this is even a viable career to go down. And that's also because you don't see yourself reflected on TV is a big thing about feeling like you could go and work in that industry. But yeah, so this panel that I'm on now, with a whole wide range of people from across the industry, our mission basically leading up to the next Edinburgh TV Festival this summer is to try and come up with really tangible ways we can help this class issue. Number one being, how do we measure it? Because there's a real big problem with us not having any idea of how many kind of working class people even work in this industry, because it's harder to measure than other things like ethnicity or disability, those kinds of things, or sexual orientation. So we've tried to kind of nail as best we can a method to measure it first, and to kind of hold broadcasters accountable. But a big thing is regionality as well. I'm one of very few on there who's from out of London. Our past 2 meetings have been in London. They're coming here in May though. But that's a big thing for, let's say you aren't from, I've got a mentee who's from Bradford, doesn't live close to a major hub where there's stuff going on. It's going to be extremely unaffordable for her to move to London. There's no major indies kind of around her that are in her sector. What advice or things can I offer her to be able to break into this industry? And one final point I think that we really need to start getting better at is supporting people at a mid-career stage. Because I've seen a lot of people come in at the same time as me on the schemes I was on, where there's a lot of money been invested into your career, but then people falling out at that mid-career stage because nobody's really checking on how they're doing. When they're falling out of work, if you do not have your mum and dad or your family or somebody to pay for that period of time when you're off work, or a partner, what are you going to do? It's just, that's why people are leaving in droves, and you don't blame them.